Narcissists who enter therapy don't lose their patterns, they upgrade them. They went to therapy, they read the books, they said all the right things. I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I understand now why I hurt you. I'm not that person anymore. And you believed them. Because why wouldn't you? People change, you've seen it. And this person, this specific person, was showing every sign of it. Except they weren't changing. They were upgrading. This video is about the most dangerous version of a manipulator you will ever encounter. Not the one who screams, not the one who controls openly. The one who learned your language and then used every single word against you. Part 1. The Upgrade. In 2026, going to therapy is no longer uncommon. The vocabulary of psychology has entered everyday conversation. Boundaries, triggers, emotional labor, holding space, trauma responses, attachment styles, shadow work. For most people, this is progress. For a narcissist, this is ammunition. Here's what happens when a narcissist enters therapy. They do not go to change. They go to learn the map of the person trying to leave them. A skilled therapist asks questions. What hurt you? What do you need? What does safety feel like? For a healthy person, these questions produce healing. For a narcissist, these questions produce intelligence. They learn what you respond to. They learn the words that lower your defenses. They learn that saying, "I take full accountability," makes you soften every time. And they remember all of it. Part 2. The Signs. So how do you tell the difference between someone who has genuinely changed and someone who has learned to perform change? There are 4 tells, and once you know them, you cannot unknow them. Tell number 1. Their accountability has no consequences. A person who has genuinely changed does not just admit what they did, they change the behavior that caused it. The fake version sounds like this. "I know I was controlling. I've really had to look at that." And then, the next week, they are controlling again. The admission exists, the change doesn't. They have learned that saying the right thing buys them more time, more access, more trust. The confession is not remorse. The confession is a tool. Tell number 2. They use therapy language, but only when it benefits them. Watch how they apply the vocabulary. When you raise a concern, "I feel like you're not respecting my boundaries right now." When you try to leave, "I need you to hold space for my healing process." When they do something wrong, "That was my trauma response. I'm working on it." Notice the pattern. Every clinical term is deployed defensively. It is never used to take responsibility. It is always used to deflect it. A person genuinely doing psychological work turns the language inward. A narcissist turns it outward, at you. Tell number 3. The change only exists when you're watching. Ask yourself this: do they behave the same way when there is nothing to gain? Genuine change is consistent. It shows up when no one is watching. It shows up in small moments, not just big declarations. The performed version requires an audience. They are patient in public, explosive in private. They are empathetic when reconciliation is on the table, contemptuous when it's not. Consistency is the only real evidence of change. Everything else is theater. Tell number 4. When you don't respond the way they expect, the mask slips. This is the most important tell of all. A genuinely healed person can handle not getting the reaction they hoped for. They can hear no without escalating. They can accept distance without punishing you for it. But the narcissist who has learned the vocabulary has not learned the emotional regulation underneath it. Push back gently, set a boundary, stay calm, and watch what happens in the next 30 seconds. If the therapy language disappears, and what's underneath is contempt, anger, or withdrawal, you have your answer. The upgrade was cosmetic. The operating system never changed. Part 3. Why you fell for it. Before we go further, this is not about intelligence. This is not about weakness. The most psychologically aware people fall for this exact pattern because it is not designed to fool the naive. It is designed to fool the hopeful. Hope is not a flaw. Wanting people to change is not stupidity. It is one of the most human things that exists. The narcissist who performs healing is not exploiting your ignorance. They are exploiting your capacity for belief. And that is worth understanding, because the moment you start blaming yourself for believing them, you are doing their work for them. Part 4. The strategy. So what do you do with this information? First, stop listening to what they say. Start watching what they do. Declarations mean nothing. Consistency means everything. Give it 90 days of observed behavior, not 90 days of promises. Second, test for genuine change quietly. Set a small boundary, nothing dramatic. Watch the response. Not the immediate response. They've learned to manage that. Watch the response 3 days later. Watch what happens when they think the test is over. Third, understand that your history with this person is working against your perception. The brain is wired to want narrative coherence. If someone hurt you and then appears to change, your mind wants that arc to be true. It is not confirmation bias. It is neuroscience. Name it, account for it. And fourth, know this. Genuine change in a narcissist is not impossible, but it is extraordinarily rare, and it never, ever looks like a performance. Real change is quiet. It shows up without announcement. It does not need your validation to exist. If someone needs you to witness their healing, they are not healing. They are managing you. The psychological truth. The most dangerous lie in a toxic relationship is not, "I never did that." It's, "I've changed." Because the first lie you can defend against. You have evidence. You have memory. The second lie asks you to abandon all of that in favor of who they're telling you they've become. And if you've ever loved someone, really loved them, you know how badly you want that story to be true. That want is what they're counting on. Now you know. Most people fall for the performance. You just learned to read the script. That's the difference between reacting to human behavior and understanding it. If this hit differently, subscribe. Next week, we go deeper.